Hi everybody, welcome back to Bentley House. I'm Aira, and today I'm going to show you how I made this dollhouse miniature couch out of cardboard. Here are a few things you're going to need. Some of them are required and some of them are optional in order to complete this craft. If you haven't been following along with my cardboard house series, this is what I am making this furniture to go into, and hopefully I'll make some more furniture in the future. You will also need the pattern that I am providing in the description box below. Just go down there and download it. There are 2 pages. The first page is the chair structure and the second page is the upholstery pattern. So make sure you get both pages when starting this project. For the first piece that I'm cutting out, I want to make a double thickness of cardboard, and so I'm going to be layering 2 pieces, but I'm going to make sure that the corrugation is running both vertically and horizontal. By making sure the corrugation is going in opposing directions, this will make this piece very strong, and since this is going to be the seat of my couch, I want to make sure that I make it as strong as possible. This is the shape that we're going to be cutting off of page 1. This is going to make our couch seat. I just need to cut one of these out of a double thickness of cardboard. This is the next shape I'm cutting out from page 1, and this is going to be on a single thickness of cardboard. And I want to make sure that the corrugation is running vertically throughout this piece, because this piece is going to be curved. This will make it easier to curve the cardboard. I wanted to show you a detail video of how I am cutting this out. Cutting cardboard with an X-Acto knife can sometimes be difficult, so the way that I go about cutting the curves is I move my board all around. I don't just leave it in one spot, and then sometimes I overcut the curves and then I turn my board around, go back to the valley, the next cut that I want to create, and then go back and meet the previous cut that I started cutting before. This makes cutting out curves a little bit easier. In order to make this piece curve really nicely, I need to score the cardboard, and I want to do this vertically, running along the grooves that are created naturally by the interior corrugation. Just taking my X-Acto knife and making vertical cuts, and this will cause this piece to curve pretty nicely. I'm going to do this on both sides and anywhere I feel like this piece is going to need to curve to fit around the base piece that we previously cut. I can just check it and make sure that it's curving in all the right spots. And this is actually going to be glued onto the back of this piece. You may have a little bit of overhang on the couch arms, and that is just fine. It's better to have a little overhang than it be too short. I'm going to add some hot glue to the face of the back piece at the very bottom where it's going to touch the couch seat. I'm starting by just gluing the center of the back first. This is so I can make sure that I get it as centered as possible and that this is a really strong point that I'm gluing. I can always add more glue and glue the sides down later. So I'm starting with the center, and then I will add more glue and slowly wrap the back of the couch around the base. Once that's done, I should have the back of the couch completed. After the back is glued securely in place, I'm taking a little bit of hot glue and filling in the gaps that I had previously scored with my X-Acto knife. This will make those a little stronger. Now I'm going to be cutting these pieces out to create the legs for the couch. This is going to be cut out of double thickness of chipboard. And when I'm saying chipboard, I mean the like cereal box type of chipboard. That's what I'm using here. Initially, when I started doing this, I was cutting 2 shapes out and then gluing them together, and that worked okay, but I found the best way to do it was to cut one of the shapes out and then glue it onto another piece of chipboard and then cut it out again with an X-Acto knife. Either way you want to do it is fine. You just want to make sure that you have 2 layers of chipboard for both the front legs and the back legs. This is going to help the legs be a little bit stronger. The back legs have these little triangles that stick out on either side, and these need to be curved to match the curve of the back of the couch. And if you do this while the glue inside is drying, that helps. This is also a good point to cut off any excess you have on the arms of the couch. Now you can go ahead and glue on the legs of the couch. To do this, I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue to the bottom of the front side of the couch and adding the front legs. The base of my couch has a little bit of a curve to it, so I'm making special attention to really push those two pieces together, and then I'm reinforcing the back with some more hot glue. I also decided to add a little piece to the back of the front legs. This is not on your pattern. You can add this if you would like to. I think it just gives a little extra stability to that front leg. I'm going to be adding on the back legs in a very similar fashion. I'm just adding some hot glue to the middle section first, and then I will slowly add hot glue to the sides so that I can glue down the sides on each part of the couch that curves inwards. Because these curve in, they add a little bit of stability in themselves, so I don't feel like I need to add any extra pieces for it to be sturdy. At this point, you can check and make sure that the legs of your couch are sturdy and that everything sits flat when you put your couch on the surface of your work table. Now we need to add the arms. You're going to need both of these pieces cut out in a single layer of chipboard or cereal box material. To create these, you're going to be rolling up the material on itself to create a couch arm. The easiest way to do this is to start by breaking the material by bending it back and forth. This is going to make it a little easier for it to curve. It's still not the easiest thing to do, but it makes it a little easier. Then I use a pencil to start the roll, but then I remove the pencil because the pencil makes the roll kind of large and you want it to be fairly tight. Once I feel like I have the roll tight enough, I can add a dab of hot glue so it'll start sticking, and then I can add hot glue as I go, rolling it on itself. I want to leave a little bit at the bottom because this is the part that I'm going to glue on the interior of the couch so that it's connected to the couch structure. The piece that's not rolled is going to be glued on the inside so that the piece that is rolled kind of flips outward to make this fancy arm shape. The couch structure is now finished and it's time to add some all-purpose joint compound. I'm using it straight from the container. It's not mixed with anything. This is the easiest way to use it to fill in any of those cardboard gaps. And I don't want to see the cardboard corrugation. If it doesn't bother you, then you can just leave it, but I'm trying to cover it up. So I'm going to add the joint compound anywhere that I can see holes or anything I want to cover up. I even added some inside of the arms so that they look solid, and then along the back and underneath. I'm going to let that dry completely before I go to the next step, which is going to be sanding the entire thing down. Make sure to wear a mask for your protection during this time because it does make a lot of dust. I'm doing this now so that this can be as smooth as possible before I get to the next step. In the next step, I'm going to be using the same mixture I used on the house. It is 1 part Elmer's glue and 1 part joint compound, the same compound I used previously. I just mix it together in a little tub, and then I'm going to, as flat as I can, apply it to the surface of the cardboard. I want to try and add the mixture to the front and the back of the cardboard at the same time so that there's minimal warping. If you add it to the front without adding it to the back and it dries, it could cause your single piece of cardboard to warp. Once it dries completely, your cardboard structure is going to be very solid. Again, I'm going to be sanding this, so make sure and use protection so that you're not breathing this stuff in. And I'm going to try and get it as smooth as possible. In the end, I don't get it completely smooth because this is just a textured material, and I'm okay with my couch looking a little textured. I think it's going to match my original structure. But in the end, you will be able to see the difference between the sanded pieces and the unsanded pieces. I'm going to create a little embellishment on this couch before I paint it, and so to do this I picked out a couple of leaf punches, and I'm choosing this because I do want my original cardboard house cottage to be covered in vines, and so I thought this would kind of match with that type of a theme. And all I'm going to do is cut a few of these leaves out of cardstock. So much cardboard going on. And then I'm going to apply them to the surface of the cardboard covered in the joint compound mixture. This technique is really fun to play around with. You can use whatever type of punches you have. If you have a punch shaped like a bat or a cat or whatever you have, you can apply it and make a customized couch. After I had put all the pieces where I wanted them, I covered them with some glue so it kind of made it didn't have such a sharp edge on it that looked like a layer of paper. It kind of softened the edge of each piece. Now I'm going to do a base coat of white acrylic paint and make sure to paint the entire thing, and I think I did a couple coats to try and cover it really, really well. Here you can see the difference between the sanded and the not sanded. I did not sand underneath the couch, but I did sand on the outside of the couch. And so you can definitely see there's a difference where you do sand and where you don't sand. Now I'm going to be dry brushing some gray. This is the same gray that's on my cardboard house, and I figured this would kind of blend the furniture with the house setting. To do this technique, I'm just getting some gray paint on my brush, and then I'm wiping most of it off so that there's just a little bit left, and then I am brushing over anywhere I want the details to be highlighted. So anywhere I added those paper punches, I'm going over that, and it really just makes those details pop out. Now this itself I think would be a really cool garden bench. You really don't even have to add the upholstery. I think it looks like some cast stone or cast concrete, but if you do want to add the upholstery, you're going to need these upholstery patterns on page 2. We're going to start with this one and make a bench seat. I'm cutting this shape out of one layer of corrugated cardboard, and as you see, it should fit loosely within your couch structure. This is what we're going to build the cushion on. Now, I've had several questions on my armchair tutorial that was from a long time ago on what you could use besides quilt batting. I have this leftover felt from an old project, and I have heard of people using felt and being successful, so we're going to put it to the test today. So anytime I say you can use quilt batting for upholstery, you can also use felt, which I think is more easily available. I'm going to start building up this cushion by adding layers of felt on top of each other with a layer of glue in between. I'm starting with 3 layers that are all stacked on top of each other that are the same shape, and then I'm going to do 2 layers on top of that that gradually get smaller. And yay, I got a new bottle of tacky glue. I'm always excited about a new bottle of glue. The reason I add the 2 smaller layers is I feel like it gives the cushion a more natural slope, and because if you just do the straight layers that all are the same size, then it feels like it's more of a squared off cushion, which if that's the look you're going for, then don't do this. But if you want more of a rounded top to your cushion, just kind of gradually make the layers smaller as you go. I turned over the cushion and I'm adding some holes in the cardboard because I want to add tufting to the top of this cushion. And so in order to do that, I'm adding holes before I put the fabric on. I'm making sure that it still fits, and the reason I want it to fit loose is so there's plenty of room for the fabric to go around. I have some of this batik fabric that was given to me by my mother-in-law. A lot of times she will give me fabric once she's done with a quilt. So if you have a quilting friend, make sure you tell them that you're open to any scraps of fabric they may have left over. I'm going to drape the fabric over the top of the cushion, and then I'm adding glue to the edge of the cushion, not to the top, because I don't want any glue to seep through the fabric at the very top. Once I have the glue, I'm just going to smooth the fabric over the edge, making sure that it grabs onto the glue. I'm going to do the same thing to the back of the cushion, adding glue and then smoothing it down with my hand. And I want to make sure that it is pulled fairly tight so that the cushion doesn't look too loose. Just a word of caution, if you are using a see-through fabric, you may want to be careful about what color felt you use on the inside because you may be able to see through it. On the sides of the cushion, I'm doing the same thing, adding a little glue, and then I'm slowly pulling the fabric tight as I go around the curve. I am not the best at making curve upholstery, but I just kind of play around with it until I think it looks right. Then once I get to the corner, I add some glue inside the corner piece, and then I pull it back at a 45-degree angle and kind of fold it down until I like how the corner looks. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, and then my cushion is upholstered. Adding the tufting is definitely optional, but if you would like to do that, it's fairly simple. I'm just going to take some embroidery thread and I'm going to do a quadruple knot, which means that I kind of basically make a knot 4 times, and then I have a quadruply thick knot. I'm going to make sure that I pull the knot to one side and then the 2 loose strings to the other side and put both ends of the string through the eye of the needle. Once I have that done, it should look like this with the knot on one end and both ends of the string through the needle. What I'm going to do is take my cushion and I'm going to poke the needle up through the bottom, and this is to make a guide hole on the top of the fabric so that I know where the hole is. Once I just poke the needle up and make a hole, I'm going to pull it back out, and then I'm going to put the needle and the thread through the top of the cushion and pull it out the bottom. If it gets stuck, you may need to get a pair of pliers. This will kind of save your fingers. Once it's through, make sure you pull both of the unknotted ends through and then pull it tight so that the knot pulls the fabric down and makes a tuft. Once it's through, I add a little bit of masking tape to hold the string in place, and then I add a dot of glue at the hole so that it will hold permanently once everything is glued down on my bench. Here you can see that I made the tufting with the black thread, but later on you will notice that they are white. I did this because someone innocently saw a photo and mistook them for rodent droppings, and I thought, you know, the white goes better with the paint job, I think, so they get painted in the end. Now I'm going to be using this piece to create upholstery for the back. I am going to be cutting along this dotted line because I have details on the back of the couch. If you don't have details on the back of the couch, you can cut along this top curved line, and then the upholstery will cover the back of the couch more fully. This shape is being cut out on chipboard or cereal box material, and this is because I want it to be really bendy and easy to move around. Again, I'm breaking the cardboard by moving it back and forth so that it will easily curve along with the back of my couch. Once I have it how I like it, I'm going to press it up inside the couch to make sure that it fits well along the curves. And I also want to make sure that I can see my pieces that I added to the back of the couch, and it has a nice little reveal. I'm only going to be adding 1 layer of felt to this back piece because I think that will make it a little easier to curve. I've never done a curved piece of upholstery before where it's curvy on the top and like horizontally and vertically, it's just curvy all over the place. So I'm just adding 1 layer of felt, but you can play around with it if you think you would want it a little bit thicker. I added glue all around the edges, not on the top of the felt, but all around the edges, and then I'm laying my fabric over the top so that it kind of catches the glue that's on the very edge. I'm now going to be snipping into the fabric, leaving just about an 1/8 inch of fabric unsnipped from the edge, and that way I can wrap the fabric around the upholstery piece. Because this piece is curved, it's going to be much easier to upholster it if you cut the slits. Same thing with the top, I'm cutting even more slits because it has to go around the curves that are at the top of this piece. So just go slow, make as many cuts as you think you need so that you can glue it down and get a nice looking piece. After that's done, I'm going to once again dry fit it to the couch structure itself to make sure everything fits right and I can still see my details that I created at the top of the back of the couch. And so far, I think it looks pretty good. I think at this scale, the batik looks a little bit more like camo, but I think it's an interesting look. And I think this is really versatile pattern because you can leave it without any upholstery, you can do just the seat cushion, or you can add the back. You can do it all three ways, and I think it works all three ways. It can be a garden bench, or it can be an interior piece of upholstered furniture. And here I'm showing you the three pieces that I painted for the tufting. Now, of course, I'm going to show you this piece inside the house. I do think the white kind of contrasts with the walls, so later on, once I have all the furniture made, I may add a little bit of chalk pastel like I have to the house itself. But for now, I'm really happy with how this came out, especially for my first piece of cardboard furniture. I'm excited to come up with some more designs, and I hope you guys really like this. Leave a comment down below and let me know what other pieces of furniture I need to make to go with this. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos coming up, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!